Just say aids of speech. Thank you. You ready? That's good. Good evening to you, councillors, and welcome to this meeting of Sandwich Town Council on Monday the 29th of April 2024. Welcome to any additional members of the public or forces that are with us, other agencies. Thank you for being here. Okay then, I'd like to get on with item number 1, which is the Chair's opening remarks. And I have quite a few because we've done quite a lot of work actually this month. So, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to the Guildhall staff and the councillors who attended the very successful annual town meeting. I received many compliments afterwards, which was a really nice thing, not just about me, about my wonderful council as well. And I think the town clerk added some really nice new initiatives, such as a visual presentation, PowerPoint there, and also the thank yous from the grant applications as well, which we haven't had before. So I think it was nice to break up the thing. And talking about break up as well, the Q&A session was the most civilised that I've seen in 17 years. So we must be getting something right, so which is really good news there. So. Also, I've just to reiterate, I can't remember who raised it now, but I've sent a letter via the town clerk to Dover District Council, objecting about the decision about the fellowship walk, the fencing and the site, because that was requested. So that's gone off now, and we wait a return of that. Also, just to say that the town clerk has set all the dates now, which you'll see later in the agenda, for mayor making, deputy supper, and in particular Speaker's Day in October. So whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, I'd like everybody to try and support whoever's mayor for the forthcoming year for those events, please. And then also I wanted to say a big thank you to, well done to whoever undertook the police drop last Thursday, I believe here at the Guildhall at the market. I know Councillor Tuke was there and Councillor Black, I don't know if, and Councillor Tomlins, and Councillor Mallet. So well done for that. Apologies that I couldn't attend myself, so obviously as a wage slave I couldn't be there, but thank you very much for keeping that contact with the public that we said we'd do there. So just a couple of last things. Also, I've been working, as Councillor Black knows, I've been working with South East Trains and Sandwich and Bloom. I've been working on a relationship to try and get Sandwich Station entered into best local station. And so Councillor Black and I are working with Carol George and a number of the Strategic Rail Partnership to try and get funding so that we can get the station all spruced up and be entered into the competition and of course win, which it did a few years ago. So.
And we may have some money from Dover District as well.
Exactly, yeah, that's excellent news. Thank you very much, Councillor Black. So, and then the last thing, the town clerk told me about, there's defibrillator training tomorrow, and that there's there's 4 slots at the Guildhall here. This has been put forward by Dover District Council, and they've got 1 space on the 10:30 slot, 1 space on the 11:45 slot, 2 spaces on the 13:15, that's 1:15 slot, and 1 space on the 2:30 slot. So I believe if you just turn up and say that you wanted to take part in that, you'd be more than welcome to join that. So, and just the other thing I was going to say was this is my last official meeting. So, so this is the end. This is the last full town council meeting of the mayoral year. So a bit later on, I believe there's a glass of something to keep our throats lubricated in the mayor's parlour if you'd like to join me. So a bit later on, but I just want to say a big thank you to everybody in this chamber for all the hard work you've done and for all the support you've given me whilst I've been in this chair. So thank you very much to each and every one of you there. So, and just for tonight's meeting, we have got quite a large amount to get through. So if we could try and keep the discussion down to the minimum, perhaps just one question each, and if something's been put forward by a committee, obviously you're able to challenge that, but please accept that that committee has already discussed the item already. So thank you very much. Item number 2, Town Clerk, is apologies for absence received.
Thank you.
Have any?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have apologies from Councillor P. Breen, personal commitment, Councillor N. Gray, illness, Councillor D. Marie, a work commitment, Councillor L. Ripley, a travel commitment, and Councillor S. Chandler from Kent County Council sends her apologies. Oh, as does the Community Warden, Peter Gill.
Super. Thank you very much for those, Town Clerk. And item number 3 is declarations of interest. This is to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda tonight. Do we have any? Oh, Councillor Black.
Yes, when we talk about the changes to planning, there is one site that I live beside. I've always declared that, and I have a dispensation, a written dispensation from a number of months now to talk and vote on that.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that. Any other declarations? No, that's all. Thank you very much, Town Clerk. Item number 4 is minutes of the full council meeting and committees, and this is to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 25th of March 2024, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda, and that is attachment 1A. Do we have any queries or questions on attachment 1A? Councillor Wiles, please stand.
Yes, item 032446, public participation. Has a letter gone to the organiser of the event who's sitting in this room?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Also on that item it says one resident spoke in support of, etc, etc. Could we not name the people who are speaking on items?
I don't tend to do that purely because I haven't asked the participant, but we can certainly factor that in if you want. I can contact the person after the meetings and ask if they're happy for their name to be recorded.
Okay, just as a courtesy.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. So, any more queries or questions on those minutes? If not, I'd like somebody to propose them. Councillor Chuka and Councillor Pennington, are you seconding them? Thank you very much. And all those in favour, please show with your cards. Or your hand if you don't have a card. So thank you. I think that's everyone. Are there any abstentions or anybody against? Thank you very much. Thank you. The next item is to approve the minutes of the extraordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 4th of April 2024, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in the agenda. And this is attachment 1B. Does anybody have any queries or questions on attachment 1B? If not, I'd like somebody to propose those minutes, please. And that's Councillor Fortescue and Councillor Chuka seconding them. And all those in favour, please show now. Thank you very much. That's unanimously passed. Thank you very much, sir. And the next item is to receive the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting on the 4th of March 2024, and this is attachment 1C. Do we have any queries on the Planning Committee minutes? No? Yeah, Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, 032412, the update from Councillor Morehouse. I wondered if there'd been any progress on 57 New Street.
Councillor Morehouse, would you like to answer that, please?
There has.
If you can.
I won't and give that in my report
Sure,
in a few
okay.
moments.
Indeed.
There is an update.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Morehouse. If there are no further questions, could I have a proposer and seconder for the planning minutes, please? That's Councillor Franklin and Councillor Morehouse. Thank you very much. And all those in favour, please show. If you could hold those up.
I wasn't there.
3 abstentions. Okay. And that is passed. Thank you very much. And the next one is to receive the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee meeting held on the 8th of January 2024 and the 11th of March 2024. And this is attachment 1D. Does anybody have any queries on the 8th of January Heritage and Townscape meeting? No? Okay, could I have a proposer? That's Councillor Black and Councillor Anderson. Thank you very much. All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you. That item's been passed. And then the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape meeting held on Monday the 11th of March. Is there any queries or questions on that one? Councillor Black, please stand.
324.6, I just wondered if there's been any progress. This was writing to Network Rail. I wonder if they'd responded in any way.
No, I haven't had a response yet.
Okay. Running late, are they?
Yeah. Delayed at a red light. Okay then, if there's no more questions on that, could I have a proposer for these? Councillor Anderson and Councillor Wiles is seconding, and all those in favour please show. And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. That has been passed. And the next items is to receive the. Let me know. You've done too
That's
fast.
fine. No,
Okay.
that's fine.
To receive the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting held on the 19th of February 2024, and this will be attachment 1E. Do we have any queries or questions on the minutes for Finance Committee, Finance and General Purposes? No? Okay. Could I have a proposer and a seconder, please? So that's proposed by Councillor Pennington and seconded by Councillor Chuka. Thank you very much. And all those in favour, please show. 3 abstentions. That item has been passed. Thank you very much. And finally, to receive the minutes of the Human Resources Committee held on the 22nd of January 2024, and this is attachment 1F. Are there any queries or questions on these minutes at all? No? Could I have a proposer and a seconder for the HR minutes? Thank you, Councillor Anderson, proposing, and could I have a seconder for that? Councillor Franklin, and all those in favour please show now. 3 abstentions. 4 abstentions. And that item is passed. Thank you very much. So, item number 5 is the payment schedules, and 5A is to receive and note the payments for the end of March 2024 totalling £2,279 and 49 pence. And item 5B is to receive and note the payments for mid-April totalling £181,332 and 40 pence. Those payments which are not supported by a minute reference have been authorised by officers with delegated powers of expenditure. And item 5C is to receive and approve the scheduled payments for April totalling £17,418 and 8 pence. And they are attachments 2A, 2B and 2C. Does anybody have any queries or questions? Councillor Chuka, please stand.
Yes, on page 29, items 3 and 4 on the schedule relate to Fishergate. The items are logged as business rates, and if those are correctly logged, I just wanted to raise a question about whether we've checked whether we should be paying business rates, because
Good point.
I've just doing some searching around the internet, found that normally if it's a listed building, which it is, you wouldn't pay business rates whilst it's unoccupied. I then went onto the DDC website, and it says listed buildings are exempt from business rates until they are occupied again.
Excellent. Oh, well done. That's really good news.
Yeah, I'll talk to you outside the meeting, and I'll talk to the RFO as well. Okay.
Thank you very much for
Thank
raising
you.
that point. That could save us a bit of money if that is pursued. Thank you very much. Did we have any other queries or questions on items 5A, 5B or 5C at all? If we do not, could I have a proposer, Councillor Franklin, and a seconder, Councillor Morehouse, for those items? All those in favour of these items, please show now. That's unanimous, thank you, that is passed. Thank you very much. Item 5D is council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise the end of April payment schedules on Bankline. Item 5E is to the council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise mid-May 2024 payment schedules on Bankline. I'm happy to put myself forward on that. Is there anybody else that would like to put themselves
I
forward?
don't mind doing it.
Councillor Franklin, Councillor Carter. Can I see a show of agreement as to those names being put forward for the payment schedules, please?
So Mr Mayor, is that for both?
That's for
dates?
both
Both,
those,
okay,
yeah.
thank
So
you.
that's for 5D and 5E.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's been passed. Thank you very much, sir. And then item number 6, our favourite part, is where we invite the public in to tell us their trials and tribulations and their good parts and bad parts of living in this wonderful town. So a 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda and other matters if time permits. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Within notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the Town Clerk prior to noon on the day of the meeting. Town Clerk, do we have any public participants?
Yes, we do, Mr Mayor. Mr Martin Dyson would like to approach and address the council.
Oh, super. Mr Dyson, would you like to come up here and address the council with your matter? And you have 5 minutes. Are you okay with being on
Yeah,
filmed?
absolutely.
Or if you're not, we can move you to another.
No, that's fine. Would you like me here?
Oh, excellent. Is that okay?
I might not get you there, but it doesn't matter.
If you come forward, actually.
If you come forward.
To the edge of the
Okay.
table, that would be ideal. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite to raise a petition. Some of your councillors have been good enough to already come and visit the junior school. I'm representing, obviously, Sandwich Junior School as headmaster. I've also got one of my governors, Hannah Bellingham, at the back. Really, we were hoping that Mrs Chandler from KCC was here to hear our petition, but in her absence, it would be good if you could represent our views to Councillor Chandler.
Indeed.
Really, it's a petition for help to re-establish funding from KCC potentially for a road crossing patrol officer outside the junior school on St Bart's Road. Our funding was removed in summer, really without telling us in advance that KCC were going to do the traffic survey. They arrived, although we're not sure when they arrived, to undertake a traffic survey outside the school and deemed it to be not dangerous enough to warrant funding, which absolutely shocks us to the core, since the traffic is horrendous out there, as you'll know from being local councillors. I would say from 8:30 in the morning to about 9 o'clock when the children arrived at school, and also at the end of the day from 3:20 to 3:30 up till about 3:45 when the children have actively left the school with their parents. Really, from a safeguarding point of view, we are very, very concerned that funding has been removed. We're at a point where we ourselves may have no other option but to use our own budget to employ a road crossing patrol officer because the situation is so dangerous. We haven't had an accident yet. I myself and at least 2 members of staff are out there every single morning to try to keep calm, but we are not authorised to cross children because we don't have the KCC training. So even in the absence of KCC providing the funding, if we were to find somebody, they still have to undergo the KCC training, use their equipment, be monitored by KCC, which seems highly unfair. in the absence of funding. As I said, we think it's an accident waiting to happen when children are traversing that road. As an outstanding school, which we've been deemed to be outstanding twice in a row by Ofsted, we obviously feel that we attract people to the area with that position. We are attracting children from, we've got children coming to us from Deal, from Eastry and as far afield as Ramsgate now. And we try to give every child the availability of a space in the school to the extent that this year I'm even taking 2 extra children into the Year 3 cohort to enable children to have an active education because there'd be nowhere else for them to go. But obviously with more children comes more traffic, and we really are making a plea to try to get as many people behind us as possible to petition KCC. They've said they will come and reassess on the 14th of May, which is David Weller, who's in charge of the Road Crossing Patrol Department at KCC, has said he will come out. What time he comes out, I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's early in the morning, so that he can see everything in full action. But as your councillors saw, and you're probably perfectly aware, we've got buses going in 2 directions, we've got heavy goods vehicles coming down there, we've got people trying to do 3-point turns down there, amongst all the traffic that's already arriving. And obviously the children come from the other side of the road to us, because a lot of the built-up area in Sandwich is on the other side of the road to the school, so they have to make their way across. So really we're looking for the re-establishment of funding or some inroads into other traffic control measures that may help us with this major problem. I'm not sure what other options are available to us, to be honest, but like I say, in the time of stretched budgets, and the school budgets are stretched to the absolute core, to employ a road crossing patrol officer out of our own budget will be a stretch, but we may be left with no option but to do that, which is a shame, because that's at the expense of things which enrich children's lives, and the projects which we're already undergoing. So really, it's a plea for help, councillors and mayor. But thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Would you remain if we had some questions?
Absolutely.
Would that be okay with you, Mr Dyson?
Yeah.
So I think Councillor Ungerson's hand went up first.
Could you tell us what the cost of a crossing helper will be? And presumably it's a morning and an afternoon.
Yeah, it's difficult to employ. Obviously, it's getting somebody there. I would rough estimate. We're talking probably about £4,500 per year.
Right, thank you.
On rough estimate.
I'm sorry, I'll beg pardon, Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, I mean, it seems extraordinary to me that Sandwich only has 2 zebra crossings for a town of this size. I know it wouldn't be as good as a lollipop person, but a zebra crossing there.
A zebra crossing would be an absolute boon, but obviously there's the positioning of where it would go on St Bart's Road.
Yeah.
But any zebra crossing that would enable a crossing point to be safely traversed would be, second best to a patrol officer. Would be amazing.
I know we've had a discussion about the HIP process, but is that something that could be fed into that?
It can, but there's no funding for the HIP. So, Councillor Pennington was next.
Yes, I just wanted to ask if there are possibility of parents supporting some sort of scheme,
Absolutely.
or if there are other funding sources.
I've got my deputy head teacher and my governor's looking into funding sources at the moment. We are quite good at tracking down funding sources. We're looking at possible, there's a funding source called Jam Busters, which do promote a walk to school scheme, which obviously that may have some support. I'm not sure how far they go in supporting the employment of road crossing patrol officers. They were very generous in giving us funding to re-tarmac a scooter rack and a cycle park this year at their cost, but I'm not sure if they do anything that's on the public highways. But we are looking into it.
Councillor Tuker and then Councillor Morehouse.
So it was myself and Councillor Tomlins that came to the school last Friday. At the end of the school day, and within 20 minutes window of watching what was going on, the traffic was appalling, wasn't it?
It was shocking, actually.
Yes.
Sorry to join in there. I was shocked by how dangerous it appeared, how busy it was, the visibility issues. There were many kind of concerns. We were hoping Councillor Chandler would be here today because obviously as a KCC representative, she would hopefully be able to take it on board and look at it further. And 4 buses passed in the duration I was there. There's cars parked down one side, there was a van parked on the side of the road. Children, I stayed to the end when they were leaving. They were freely crossing the road on their bikes, on their scooters, as children will, and it did seem a really hazardous environment. And one of the points were the signs, sorry to have taken over from you.
No, it's yours.
One of the signage is quite obscured, you know, the school isn't very visible. And as Hannah explained as well, which is very obvious, you've got one way, you've got greater visibility because it's on the bend, so you can see down both sides. Alternatively, the other way, you've got even worse visibility.
Indeed, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed that they would in any way assume that that was in any way safe, and I think there was very scant information on the report to actually see what time of day they did the assessment.
I have asked for a copy of the full report, but so far I haven't received the full report.
So I would like to think our full support would go behind this initiative to support the school to get the appropriate person in place, really, because it's the obvious solution.
Indeed. Before I call Councillor Morehouse in, if you were able to share that report with the Town Council, I'd be very grateful if you could send it to the Town Clerk, unless it's confidential, of course.
No, I'll get it. As soon as I get it, I will send it to you, yeah. I have requested it from David Weller. I think he's trying to stonewall me at the moment, but I will keep
Please persist.
requesting. Yeah, I will.
And then the last question is from Councillor Morehouse, who lives close by to the
With
school.
reference to the HIT report, I consider St Brass Road to be the priority because it is one of the most important strategic roads in Sandwich on the basis of it's the bus route. It's the only access for co-op. There is no other way that the co-op lorries can get to the co-op. It's access to the caravan park, which is an important part of our tourism industry. And there's the school. So that's the 4 things all tied together. We had a visit from one of the traffic officers at KCC back in 2013, and this was at between 3:15 and 3:30 on a Friday afternoon. And I said to and it was congested. It's been congested for many years.
Yeah.
I said to the officer, "What about emergency vehicles?" And she said, "Well, they'll find another route." That's their attitude.
That's shocking.
The one question I would ask is, could you give us some kind of, what would be the cost comparisons between you funding and KCC funding? Because it makes no sense to me if it costs you more to fund because of the training won't be cheap, I'm certain of that, in comparison with what the KCC funded patrol.
Well, the training, I think that the training they will provide. The cost of employment, they absolutely won't provide at the moment.
But there's got to be a cost comparison between the two, because it does not make sense that an education budget is costing more than it would be for KCC to employ someone directly.
Absolutely. I can find that out for you.
Did you want
I
a
just
question
wanted
in
to
your
make
own right?
Just a very quick point. I think it's worth noting that the school is a KCC school and not an academy.
Yeah.
So there doesn't seem a lot of sense because it's all KCC money.
Yeah.
But what they're asking the school to do is use their own budget, and massive congratulations to achieving outstanding. I know people don't like those words, but twice.
No, that is very
really
good.
worth supporting.
That's very good. Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much for bringing that to us, Mr. Dyson.
Thank you very much.
Obviously we don't have a large amount of powers and we don't have a large amount of budgets because we try to keep the precept down each year, unfortunately. But whatever we can do to help you, we will do, and we will bring it to the attention of the county councillor for you.
Thank you
So
very
I can
much.
agree to
Thank
that.
you
Thank you very
giving
much
us
for
the
coming.
time on the floor as well.
No
Thank
problem
you.
at all. If you wish to leave the meeting at this stage, we might be going on for another couple of hours, but you're welcome to stay if you wish to. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'd like to invite you all as well. On the 3rd of July, we have an art exhibition at St Mary's Art Centre. And we're hoping, we've got some celebrities coming to us. Some of our children have been involved in filming with Jim Moyer,
Oh yeah,
formerly Vic Reeves.
that's
So we've got two of our children will be on Sky Arts in June.
excellent. Well, that's superb. Thank you very much for that.
But on 3rd of July in the evening, anybody's welcome, and it will be at St Mary's Arts Centre.
Well, that's super. Thank you for
Thank you
that.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Sure, good evening to you. Okay then, and so the next item is item number 7, which is a verbal report from our Dover District Councillors on matters relating to Sandwich. Councillor Morehouse, would you please stand and address the council?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You have 5 minutes beginning now.
Right, first of all, planning reference 24/000686 St Peter Street. The planning committee will meet in either May or June on that one. Secondly, planning reference 23/0131437 12 Britannia Terrace School Road. There seems to be some confusion here with the planning applications, because there's two demolition of two walls in the frame here. One is the demolition of the wall to facilitate the extension, and the other is the demolition of the wall to facilitate the traffic access. And my understanding is that one of these is a retrospective application for work that's been done, that's been carried out without planning permission. And it was interesting, when I attended the planning committee meeting on the 14th of March, Jeff Lockman lamented the fact that there's too many of these retrospective planning applications, and suggests that there needs to be scrutiny, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some more scrutiny in regard to this, because it really is, it's not good for anyone, any planning applicant to do the work and then put in the planning application afterwards. Cynical exploitation of loopholes. Thirdly, the flats in St Bart's Road. I mentioned at the last meeting about the disability access. DDC have agreed to raise the platform and create ramps at the rear of the property. But due to the recent unpredictability of the weather, they've been unable to pin down a date. But I am told that that work will be completed by the end of May. Once that's completed, I'll then start putting some pressure on them to do something about the doors in the building, which are phenomenally heavy. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger would struggle with the heaviness of these doors. The glass at the front of the building is the original glass from 1965. So glazing technology has moved on a lot in 60 years. So it cannot be energy efficient. And Dover District Council's green credentials, I would question if they don't do something about this. Fourthly, reporting to the Alice in Wonderland article in the recent community ad, which suggested that prior to 2023, we lived in a utopian society of no council tax increases and no parking charge increases. So I produced a handful of copies of what the record is over the last 16 or so years. And finally is 57 New Street. So I received a telephone call from the new Senior Planning Enforcement Officer. His name is Gary Boots with an E, and he suggested to me that he's quite concerned about the lack of energy focused towards this, from the previous senior planning enforcement officer, who you, Mr. Mayor, will know very well in your struggles with the building, Mr. McEwen.
Oh, gosh.
Mr. McEwen has now left Dover District Council.
Retired, I guess.
And the new Gary Boots is very keen to push on this. I do notice, he did tell me that the planning application that was submitted last year is a red herring. I believe, my cynical side of me thinks that the Harris fencing that's been erected at the front of the building is another bit of window dressing by the owners. But Gary Boots has confirmed that he will update me mid-May after he's had another meeting with the owners. So perhaps there might be some progress. I will invite him to attend the next planning committee meeting.
That would be most opportune if you could do that. And just to finish, I have actually, he's not that new actually, because I've worked with Mr. Boots actually several years ago.
He may have been newly promoted.
I think
to that
he's
position.
newly promoted. He used to be a planning officer, but he does actually get things done. So if he's in place, then we've got hopefully some optimism is on the horizon there. So I think, was Councillor Wells first? Councillor Wells first, please, Stan.
I mean, that's encouraging news that you have a new room, if you like it, for planning. We've repeatedly been asking for a senior officer to come to the planning committee or to this council to talk about planning enforcement. And cases like Britannia Terrace, the only way that you'll stop that is by levying fines on offenders. It will soon stop it. But it's not happening, so it's a planning free-for-all at the moment. We need action, so it's good to hear.
That's good news. Councillor Anderson, please.
I just wanted to congratulate Councillor Morehouse on getting things done. And in particular, the ramp at the flats in St. Bart's Road, because I've been involved a tiny bit with that, but I really think that's excellent. And I hope you get the glass replaced as well.
Yes, yeah.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your update, Councillor Morehouse. That's very useful. Thank you. Item number 8 is verbal report from our Kent County Council on matters arising for Sandwich. Did we have a written report as she's given her apologies?
No, I haven't received a report.
I had asked her to do that, so that's actually quite a shortcoming there. So.
50,000 a year.
No, that's that. Item number 9 is, I'm sorry, there's apologies from the Kent County Council and there's no written report again, so I'm afraid we can't actually update you on issues to do with Kent, so I apologise for the poor service. Item number 9 is a report from local police representative and or community warden for Sandwich, and to receive reports from local police representative and or KCC community warden. Do we have anything at all?
We don't have anything from the community warden. He confirmed last week. The local PC did share her update with everybody today, so I have shared that around with the councillors. And there is a copy here on the table where Christina's set up, and I can share that with on Facebook and on my website as well.
Indeed, in case anybody hasn't seen that. Councillor Black, did you have a
Yeah,
question?
just to say that the local constable has said that she would like to come back next month on the 23rd to the forecourt if possible. She was unable to attend this time, but managed to get her colleague who does Worth and Ash to attend, and I think that was very useful as well.
It was.
So, but she's doing her very best, but she got called to other duties.
Indeed, of course, and obviously just to put things into perspective, the police constable did tell me that she is, she works shifts, so she could be on nights or days or what have you like that, and of course she doesn't live locally, so she'd have to travel here in her own time, so obviously she's quite readily excused there. So. And item number 10 is a roundup, is the updates from councillors, to receive and note verbal updates from councillors on meetings that they have attended as nominated representatives on the council. And I can start things off by just saying on Saturday I met some people who are to do with the Peace Memorial and to do with also to do with RONSA, to do with the Veteran Society in RONSA, with whom we're twinned, and the Mayoress and myself are making arrangements to travel to RONSA in September to actually try and regenerate and re-establish the RONSA Twinning Society that has dropped by the wayside. So, and then on Sunday we had the privilege of being guests of the Mayor and Mayoress of Faversham, who were celebrating their 50 years as a town council, a bit like ourselves in 1974. They all went across from boroughs to town councils, and it was nice to meet the other councillors and dignitaries there and express how wonderful Sandwich is and fly the flag for Sandwich. So, and then the last one, which the Mayoress probably won't want to remember, is last Sunday we attended the St George's Parade for the local Scouts, Guides, Rainsboroughs, and don't forget the squirrels, I was told. So I'm not sure what squirrels are, but they were there present. So, but that was an icy cold 5 degrees on warmer seafront. So, but that was for the whole district. So when Sandwich came parading by, we did the Yahoos and the well dones to the Sandwich Scouts. So, Councillor Morehouse, would you
Just
like
wanted
to?
to ask you a question, Mr. Mayor.
Indeed,
about
please do.
When did RONSA cease to exist, the Twinning Society? It was 2012, wasn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was. I think that was. Yeah, I think was it 2011 or 2012? It was 20. Yeah, 2012, I believe.
So to give you some words of encouragement, the Twinning Association in Honfleur was closed 25 years, and we've got that back up and running. It's strong. And it has
Excellent
been
news.
now for 15 years.
Oh, thank you for that. Oh, well, I will do my best on that. So, to establish that. Thank you. No. Councillor Chuka, did you have a question?
Yeah, are we moving on to what council?
Oh yes, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, so this is an update from councillors now.
So I've just got one update. I'm continuing to engage with the Early Help and Preventative Services team on how we might see greater presence of the KCC funded activities and services are provided by the Dover, Deal and Sandwich Children's Centres. What we had was the return of the first event in over 3 years in Sandwich over the Easter period. It was a spring craft event which was at the Jubilee Centre. I followed that up with the organisers and they said it went really well. There was a great mix of families there and over 50% were local families, so that was really good news. Very complimentary about David Wood, in terms of his support, so if you could feed that back to him, they're really happy about that. The question is about what happens next. They have made an offer of early learning equipment, play type equipment that they're happy to loan on a long-term basis to the Jubilee Centre. The issue might be about storage, so that's being investigated. We're also recruiting a community outreach worker at the moment. Once that person's appointed, then one of their responsibilities will be about engaging with the communities across the Dover area, looking at how they can engage on a regular basis. So there might be some more interactions, but the key thing is it's a family hub model at the moment, so that really means the outreach to places like Sandwich are very limited.
Yeah. Oh, super. Thank you very much for that. That's very interesting. That's really pleasing to hear about that and to hear that things are moving forward on that. So that is really good. It'd be lovely to get those children's services back into the town where they belong. So, Councillor Franklin, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're sort of informal meetings at the White Mill because we've been so busy, but I can say they have prepared that worm drive, which is an important bit of gear, and there is an open weekend down the mill. It's the 11th to 12th May, so I hope all the councillors over that weekend do go down there and support them because it's so important and it's such a fantastic building, and to see the amount of work they're doing, it's really, really, those volunteers, the amount of hours they put into that place and the skills they've got, very good. And I just say about RONS, I did go there last year with the Rotary, and they are very welcoming.
Indeed, I look forward to that. So Councillor Black, please.
Yes, two things. 27th of March, the council wanted me to attend online discussion about community transport. Bridport were the example. Not very good news, because even after 3 years, they're still having to pay about 14,000 a year for just a few days of the week, bringing people in from the other villages to the market. The other thing is Faversham have now launched their community bus. I've got to wait a few weeks and then I'll have a trip to Faversham Market, see the person there, and a visit to the Three Mariners at all.
Excellent.
So that will be there. And the final thing, you've already commented, you had a meeting at the station with Network Rail, with Dover District Council. So we've got a scheme to put some funding in, as well as the resources you've brought from Southeastern trains. So we had a meeting with Sandwich in Bloom, and I think it was fairly productive. So we might start getting a few more planters up, and a few health and safety issues that we weren't aware of, but there we go.
Indeed. No, thank you very much for that, Councillor Black. That's very informative. Thank you. That's excellent news there. No other items. That's good. Item number 11 is financial information. And this is attachment number 3, and this is to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council statement of accounts as at the 31st of March 2024. This is the income and expenditure budget. Do we have any queries or questions on this? If not, I'd like a proposer and a seconder, please. So Councillor Chuka and a seconder from Councillor Morehouse. And all those in favour, please show. Okay, and that's unanimous. That's been passed. Thank you very much. And item number 12 is consultations. And this is the town clerk is to share the details for 2 consultation opportunities and invite comments and feedback from members. Revised validation and guidance requirements for planning applications determined by KCC. The deadline for this one is the 3rd of May, so this is quite soon. I believe that's the end of this week, Friday. And the second one is Dover District's local plan views or modifications to the local plan. Deadline for comments is the 24th of May 2024. Decision is required on that, and these are attachments 4 and 5. Town Clerk, do you want to address the council on these, or?
There isn't really anything more to add other than the reports. Hopefully I did try to put enough information for members, but not too much. So I didn't print out all the details, but I did include them in the pack as attachments. And there was a link as well to the local plan page. So hopefully members have had enough time to research and have a look at that.
Thank you very much for that, Town Clerk. Councillor Chuka.
So I was going to suggest, so very quickly, the KCC consultation, I don't see that there is a direct impact on Sandwich as a location. There might be some marginal stuff around Richborough and refuse, so somebody else might come up with a proposal around that one. But the DDC local plan, what I was going to propose was, because this is about the modifications to the plan, and the people that have been directly involved in it for different reasons are Councillor Wiles and Councillor Black. What I was going to propose that it's delegated to the next planning committee meeting, which is on the 13th of May, which gives enough time for us around here, rather than trying to debate the modifications now, which are very technical. We can comment into the planning committee to the chair, or we can actually go to the planning committee meeting, and then it can brigade. Certainly Councillor Wiles represented the council at the planning events. I watched a few online myself, so I think he's probably the most in the game in terms of this. So that's what I would propose, rather than spending 20 minutes to half an hour talking about a lot of detail that others have got better knowledge.
Just on that matter though, so we'd be saying that the planning committee would be making the decision.
Yes, so that was my proposal. Delegate it down to the planning committee, but everybody has the opportunity to provide comments in if they feel necessary. But it is only about modifications.
I know.
But they're all in isolation, and if you just pick up a modification, it's very difficult to understand the context. Whereas Councillor Wiles, I would argue, does know the context, and Councillor Black would have an input as well.
Indeed. Okay. Thank you for that proposal, Councillor Black.
Well, I can talk about DDC very briefly, and then there's a couple of things in KCC. I think if it goes to the planning committee, that's fine, but I think there's about 3 critical issues. If you look at page 14 of the DDC one, it's 3.53, increasing Sandwich housing allocation from 227 to 282, a 24% increase, and I can see no justification whatsoever for that. The second thing is MM8, page 17, the final paragraph, that development should take account of infrastructure and whether it can cope. Quite frankly, there's nothing in the various proposed sites that deals with infrastructure. What are they talking about? And the third one is the one that I have a dispensation to talk about, which is SAP 21, and the absolutely appalling decision to flog some land to the school and build 20 more houses. This is ridiculous. No consultation, and that contradicts exactly what Kent County Council is saying in their own discussions about needing to involve the community. So I'll be raising these at the planning committee, but all councillors should be aware of just how bad this is.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Black. So we've got those items noted, Councillor Black, so they can be raised at the planning. So we have a proposal on the floor, councillors, for the DDC one to actually go to the planning committee and be discussed there and a decision made, but we would have to give them delegated authority. So obviously, I mean, it could be disseminated electronically to make sure everybody was happy with that, but we would have to give them delegated authority because we can't bring it back to the next full council meeting, there wouldn't be enough time. So we have a seconder for it then so that's Councillor Morehouse. And all those in favour of it going to planning, please show. That's unanimous there. Thank you very much on that one. And then with the KCC one, I don't know if there is any further issues with KCC. Councillor Black, sorry.
Yes, it's the second paper is one that's far more important, because that's what KCC wants to do in areas that they have responsibility for, and that includes education. And there's quite a few flaws there. If you look at page 184, paragraph 5.5, they need to take account of agricultural land, good quality land. There doesn't seem to be any discussion of that. And then secondly, 12.1 on page 199, which is about community engagement when they start proposing changes to schools, and having a clear statement as to what the need is for additional facilities in the schools. At the moment, we can see nothing.
So with the items to do with Kent County Council, how would the council like to take these issues forward? Is there a proposal as to taking the report forward? Is Sandwich Town Council going to put forward the issues that have been raised? Councillor Black, please.
I think you've got a problem in that I think it's the 3rd of May that we have to respond.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure. Pardon?
I think council should respond individually, Mr. Mayor.
Are they asking for a group response from the council?
So members, I mean, it is a consultation that's open to the public, so of course you can respond if you wanted to independently. But I just brought it to the council to ask if the council wanted to do a response from STC.
No, I don't think so.
So we have a proposal for councillors to respond individually, and would anybody like to second that at all? So Councillor Pennington, and all those in favour? So, thank you very much for bringing those items to our notice, Councillor Black. The next item is item number 13, which is Standing Orders Working Group report. And the Standing Orders Working Group have met and debated the options for STC to agree the committee memberships for 2024-25. The report details various principles and scenarios for council to consider, A decision is required on this, and this is attachment number 6. I just wanted to hand over to the town clerk for an update on this, because the town clerk has already sent out the slate and she has an update to give the council at this point. So I want the town clerk to speak first.
I don't know, because I think Councillor Black, it is his report, so he might, I don't know.
I'd like to speak very briefly, if I may.
Indeed.
I understand, the town clerk and I have been in communication, I know what the issues are as far as I'm concerned. The only concern we had was when a committee was oversubscribed. I understand there are 2 committees that are oversubscribed, each by one person.
One person, indeed.
The suggestion that town clerk has made is could we increase the numbers on those 2 committees if we want to. That's a way forward, I think, in the short term. If the council wants to do that, I'm happy to defer this item for a fuller discussion next month, when we hopefully will not have such a crowded agenda.
Indeed.
But it would need to be next month.
I agree 100% with that. So thank you very much for that, Councillor Black. That is a very intelligent proposal there, so thank you very much for that. I'll hand you back over to the town clerk, who can give an update on where we are. She's had all the responses back. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. So I did chase the last few councillors today, so thank you everybody for responding today when I was sending out emails and telephone calls and text messages. So I can confirm that as it currently stands on the slate, there are 9 councillors. That includes the Mayor on Finance and General Purposes, so that fulfils the Committee for Finance and General Purposes. Heritage and Townscape Committee is the same, 8 councillors plus the Mayor, so that is 9 councillors in total. So that one is fully subscribed. Planning is the same, 8 councillors and the Mayor. There's 9 councillors subscribed and confirmed. And then Monkswell Nature Reserve, we have 1, 2, 6. So this is a difference, because previously it was 4 councillors and the Mayor. So I'm proposing that you increase that to 5 councillors and the Mayor, and that's reflecting the terms of reference. And the same with the Human Resources Committee. That was previously 4 councillors and the Mayor, but it would now be 5 and the Mayor. So it does mean just increasing 1 councillor on each, the Monkswell Nature Reserve and the Human Resources Committee. And that can be done reflecting the terms of reference as well at the next meeting.
Thank you very much for that report. So, Councillor Walter.
Can I just clarify, because in this report it says Finance and General Purposes has 10 members. I believe that should revert to 9, and so it's standard across the key committees.
Yes, so I think it was temporarily increased because Councillor Penny, yes, but it is reflected now back to the 9. Yeah.
And Councillor Anderson, please stand.
This sounds like a reasonable way forward now, but I'm a bit concerned that we may be setting a precedent. So if we get, say, I don't know, 10 or 11 people wanting to be on a particular committee next year, what's to stop us from just expanding the numbers and saying, there you are? Because we did actually decide in the standing orders to put committee numbers in the standing orders, as I remember them.
I think what the problem's been is the very short length of time we've had to look into this and review this. And Councillor Black and his team have done an excellent job, and he's just said that he's prepared to look at this, defer it, and look at it in a month's time. Councillor Black, did you want to reply?
Very briefly, Councillor Anderson, I share your concern, and the working group does share that concern. What we have suggested in discussions with the town clerk is do it this year. It should not be a precedent, and the reason we want to have the discussion next week is so that we can set things very clearly in reinforced concrete, so we don't get into that situation again, but we have sufficient time, because obviously it is a complicated issue, but I would hope that we are able to do that.
Indeed, thank you very much for that. So my proposal from the chair would be to defer this excellent work that's been done by the Standing Orders Working Group, so that they have more time to look into it and establish these concrete guidelines in future. And item B would be for the town clerk to make the adjustments to the two committees, so they're increased just by one place. So that is the proposal. Did I have anybody to second that? Thank you, Councillor Pennington. And all those in favour of that proposal, please. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much for that. And thank you to the standing working orders standing group for doing the work on that. Thank you. That's good. And item number 14, IT hardware options for councillors. And this is for members to receive a report from Councillor Chuka that seeks to debate with decision from members on the potential replacement of the existing devices used by councillors. And these are attachments 7A, 7B and 7D. And I just wanted to point out myself from the chair that although the Chromebooks, which I've not got any banner to fly on Chromebooks, apart from all the organisations that I know use them, is the additional costs on the Chromebook. Even when those additional costs are added, the initial outlay for the Chromebooks is the cheapest. So the additions of the licenses and I believe there was a Microsoft licenses and what have you there. Obviously the Chromebooks, which is quote number 3, is still the cheapest with all the on costs as well. So, but I open the floor for debate. Recommendations are members are invited to approve the replacement of the current iPads, which are really at their lowest ebb now, used by councillors with one of the 3 solutions below. So we're looking really for option 1, option 2 or option 3. So did we have any debate? Councillor Chuka?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a debate. I'd just say that following last month's meeting, I did contact Cloudy IT. I factored in their assessment in terms of the Chromebook. Just 2 points, I suppose, if I want to keep things brief. The funding we've got available, each of the 3 options comfortably comes within the funding, so that's a key thing to recognise. And just the second point I was going to make is it's a customer-led decision, it's not a Cloudy IT decision, so they've given their insight, their preference, their presentation, and 1 or 2 of their comments I'd probably question, like a Chromebook is less easy to travel around with. Well, of course it's slightly heavier, but actually it has certain advantages. So I think we've got a choice between the 3. For me, the Microsoft Surface Go probably is ruled out on a number of factors.
Exactly.
So I think it's a simple choice between an iPad versus a more traditional laptop-looking device.
Yeah. And can I just add, before I go on to any other comments, is I did a little check on things, and you've got, from my point of view, being a more mature gentleman, Apple iPads have got a 10.2 inch monitor or screen. Surface Pros have got a 10.5 inch screen, and Chromebooks have got a 14 inch screen. So from my point of view, when I'm looking at an Excel spreadsheet, I want as much screen as possible so I can actually see what I'm doing. So but that's my personal preference, obviously. And we had some hands up, Councillor Wiles? Oh, yeah. Councillor Anderson, take the floor.
I just want to put in a word for Apple. I've used Apple since they started, and I find them so easy, actually. And I think we have to accept that there's a range of skills located amongst us. Some of us are clearly very technologically aware and adept, and others not so. And I think Apple is built for idiots. and that's why I like it.
Councillor Wiles, please.
No, I agree with that. I've got 5 or 6 Apple devices, but when we did the training, is it Ryan, the trainer?
Oh, Ryan, that's correct.
He said we could use our own devices for access with 2-factor authentication in the way.
Correct.
So I see here that probably half the councillors here are using their own devices. So do we need to buy 16 or can we cut that number?
That's
No, I
yeah.
don't like mine.
That's
It's dying.
yeah, that's a good question. A good question there. Yeah, I'll pick that up. Was there another somebody else?
Yeah,
Councillor Tomlin?
I just wondered about whether we'd have a word equivalent package that we'd have access to, so we could use it more widely, not for personal, but for council things. Because there's still issue with, I've got iPads and laptops, but there's still issue with certain files and not being able to open them and things like that.
Yes, so we would have access to what's called Microsoft 365. So which is what I'm looking forward to. So currently on the iPads, I've just to give you my experience, the last whatever it is 5 years, I've been drafting all my letters. I've been drafting on my laptop at home. Then I'm emailing them to my iPad, and then from my iPad I've been emailing them out. So if I'm contacting the Police and Crime Commissioner, I'm on my laptop, my Chromebook laptop, using Word, then moving across to the emailing it to the iPad, and then from the iPad I'm emailing it to the Police and Crime Commissioner. Now basically I don't want to continue doing that for the rest of my time on the council, so that is a very good point there, and I'll come back to the point of the numbers there. Councillor Black.
Yes, I mean, I sympathise with some of that. I'm having to do that at the moment, but that's because the iPad keypad at the moment is pathetic. It's really bad.
It is.
If I understand, the Logitech keyboard is a full-size keyboard, or almost full-size. And so you've got a different kind of response.
Yeah.
And if you've got 365 on it, fine. Because the problem with Apple, if you use Apple computers, they use Pages rather than Word, and you have to export and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The second thing is I would put a plea in for whatever we buy, can we please have a PDF annotator? It's absolutely critical because it's so much easier to look at the council reports and the minutes and annotate things. You can do it straight away. Yes, clause 14.2, this is what it says.
Yeah.
I would hope whatever the
Sure.
spec is, that is included.
We could add that as part of the specification. So sorry, Councillor
Yeah, I
Franklin.
was going to say, I did like using my iPad, and those of us that had them originally, we all did have Logitech keypads purchased, didn't we?
Yeah, but they're not.
But
What you mean?
we have done that before. But I do like Apple, but like I say, I think this is a 14-inch, it is a bigger screen.
That's yeah.
It is like it is originally Council Mandates. So anyway, I do like the bigger screen.
And then finally,
Yes, I
Councillor
just want to
Tudor.
respond to Councillor
Indeed,
Miles.
please
So,
do.
I understand the argument you make around using your own devices, but I think the thing is, as councillors, that all the risks shouldn't sit with us as individuals personally. If we work off our own devices and if they collapse and we've got no recourse, for me, having a work device available
Indeed,
gives me
I
that
agree.
protection as a
I
councillor.
agree. Thank you very much for that. So thank you very much for the questions and answers there. I personally, this isn't as the Mayor, just as a person, as a councillor, I'd like to put forward a proposal that we adopt quote number 3, which is the Chromebook one, because of the options I've put forward, that we'll be able to use Office 365 on there directly. Obviously, other people, if my proposal fails, other people can put their proposals forward. So, Councillor Morehouse, is this a question or? Oh, thank you very much. That's seconding that proposal. So those that would like to have Chromebooks, please show now. 6. Okay. And those abstaining, please show now.
1, 2, 3.
And those against, please show now. Quick, William, get yours up.
3.
That's 3.
Okay, so that's carried. That's carried 6 in favour.
Okay, so that's carried. And as Councillor Chuka said, it is best if you are actually issued with those laptops. Then, if for instance you weren't happy with them, then you can make your own choices, and you can have. Are we using MFA or 2 MFA?
So we have got a dual solution already on offer from Cloudy IT, which is we can, through two-factor authentication, use our own devices. So between our own devices and what's provisioned to us, we can work across the please.
Excellent, thank
Yeah.
you very much for that. So, is this a question we've actually now taken the vote?
Oh no,
So,
it's not to do with the vote, it's just to do with there will be a lot of surplus machines if we can work out
Yes.
how to benefit somebody.
oh,
or an
indeed,
organisation.
indeed. Thank you very much. That's actually a very good point. I did have that written down here, but I didn't raise it. So, and very finally, because we've made the vote.
One of the lower schools.
Yes.
Oh yeah, indeed, indeed. Thank you very
Junior,
much on that. So, I've had finally. Is it important?
Yes.
Go on then.
I mean, two-factor authentication is great, but sometimes it goes on and on and on, and it's very time-consuming.
Yeah.
Can this include face ID recognition, so we can log in and out quickly?
Yeah. You
Or
can have.
fingerprint.
Yeah, you can have the fingerprint.
What we would question.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I'll take that back to
Question,
the
Take that back to cloud
Sorry, I
IT.
don't want to
Yeah.
make up security policy in the room.
My work one has got the fingerprint recognition on. It hasn't got the face recognition that Apple has. So, right, thank you very much for that, councillors. So hopefully in a very short lead time we will have new devices to work on, and we can get on with the work there. That's excellent. Thank you very much for that. So, and item number 15 is frequency of meetings for Sandwich Town Council. The Town Clerk is to provide a report to members that proposes that the frequency of meetings for Sandwich Town Council to be retained as monthly for full council. The proposal includes the scheduled meetings for Sandwich Town Council committees for 2024. These are attachments 8A and 8B, and we will need to make a decision on this. So, oh indeed,
Yeah,
oh
sorry.
beg your pardon, sorry, Town Clerk.
No, just to say, members, I took away the feedback obviously at the last meeting, and now I've scheduled in Sandwich Town Council to meet monthly and not bi-monthly. As you can see, there are some months when we've got 7 meetings, I think, in 1 month. So it's going to be a busy year. And also, I have kept with not having a meeting in August. So if there are no planning applications in August, the planning committee won't need to meet, but I've scheduled a meeting in case there are planning applications. And as you'll see, the first planning committee is on the 13th of May, so it's going to be soon after the annual meeting.
Super, thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Not having the August meeting, that means we won't have the quarterly meeting, doesn't it? We always have a quarterly meeting in August. We're supposed to have 4 quarterly meetings, mayor making and 3 other quarterly. In August is a quarterly meeting. So I don't know how you're going to get around a quarterly meeting, that's all we're going to do.
Yeah, I've factored in, so you've still got 3 quarterly meetings, because obviously your mayor making is one of those. But you'll see there are a lot of local councils don't meet in August. It's very, very common.
Yeah, Folkestone don't. Yeah.
It's
but
very...
that's always been part of our, I don't know, traditions, but we always, Sandwich Town have always had quarterly meetings when we run up. So if you want to do away with it, but I'm against it.
We will still have 3 quarterly meetings.
But 3, but we won't have 4. How can you have 3 quarterly meetings? Only quarterly meetings, we only need 3, are they?
We'll have mayor making as well. So that bring.
Mayor making?
Yeah, the mayor making will be a meeting as well.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
the
an
first
official.
one.
Yeah.
Then you get 3 3 months on, that's May.
That's
So that's August.
Yeah.
You don't know, it won't be quarterly meetings, if we're only having 3 meetings, will it?
We can still have them. We can still have them
Sure.
as traditional meetings.
We've always had August meetings.
Yeah, we can still have the traditional roving for the other 3,
Well,
which we can maintain.
well, it's up to the council, but I must say I'm against. We used to have 24 meetings a year. Twice a month we had meetings, even in December we had 2 meetings.
Yeah.
And now you're doing away with one. And look at the size of the meetings going to be on in September. The man, look at this tonight. Look how many pages tonight. September will be absolutely awful if we've got to go 2 months without a meeting, Mr. Mayor.
It'll be managed by the town clerk. So the town clerk's promised me that she can manage it. So it'll be delegated over the other months. So for instance, we can do more in July, have August off, which allows everybody at least one month in which to take their holidays, and then September we can come back to a smaller agenda. So, and the other 3 quarterly meetings can still be roved. Anyway, this is I'm prepared to take this. Oh, sorry, beg pardon, Councillor Wilson.
I agree with Councillor Franklin. I think these agendas are too long.
Yeah.
They need to be better managed. That's something I think we need to discuss. We're not putting enough things to the committees. There's too much coming straight here, and they should be dealt with in more detail at the committees. There's examples on the agenda tonight. But I still think this is too many meetings for me, and many councils have no meetings in July and August. So I think to have meetings in August, I just think that's complete overload for this town council.
Councillor Franklin wants you to have two a month.
Well, Mr Mayor, if we could get the size of these, look at the agenda tonight, 77 pages on one report, wasn't there? You talked about 150 pages of stuff to read, aren't you?
That's
we might have to go back to 2 meetings a month.
Specification, unfortunately, there. So, did you not use AI? You can use AI to go through it and pick out.
No, I even have it because you know the beads.
Sorry.
The quill.
Sorry. You can use AI if you want to. Councillor Anderson, did you have a question?
Yes. I'm pleased to see that Heritage and Townscape will meet every 2 months. I think that's the right decision, and I suggested it last time, I think. But I'm also concerned about these consultations which we get, and I suspect that we will have to have a number of extraordinary meetings in order to deal with consultations, so inevitably the number of meetings will increase. The other thing is that I really dislike the fact that we talk about issues at committees and then we talk about them again at the full council.
Exactly.
And I really do think we have to stop doing that. We have to have the process in place to prevent it.
I agree with that entirely. I agree, and I did say that at the beginning of the meeting this evening. Can we accept the decisions of the committee? So, and then finally, Councillor Pennington, please.
Yes, thank you. I'm prepared to go along with the suggestion that if we have road meetings every quarter, that there is a meeting in that quarter when we road up. But I'm in favour of not meeting in August.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'm prepared to put this proposal forward on behalf of the town clerk. Can I just say that if within 6 months we can throw this decision over and change back. So let's at least give it 6 months trial and see how it works. That'll take us through the August period then, and then if it doesn't work, Councillor Franklin, then either you or I can come back to this council and ask for it to be changed back.
Yes, we just have to see the size of the September agenda.
Indeed.
I mean, last year was massive, and this year I think it's going to even be big with all the work that's going on with the iPads and everything else.
That's
Well, so much going on at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And as I say, in September, so in 6 months, if it doesn't work out, then we can come back to the table and revert things back to how they are currently. So I'll put forward the proposal on behalf of the town clerk, as she's not allowed to. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wiles, and all those in favour of the proposal by the town clerk? Okay. And any abstaining? And any against? Just one. That has been passed. Thank you, councillors. So, and then item number 16 is markets on the Guildhall Forecourt Square update, and this is members to receive a report from Councillor Chuka on a proposal to consider reintroducing a Saturday market on the Guildhall Forecourt Square, and to debate the purchase of additional gazebos to meet increased demand for market stalls. This is attachment number 9, and a decision is required on this. I just wanted to also add, can I give my personal thanks to Councillor Chuka for both the IT hardware report and his work with Cloudy IT, and also this one to do with the markets. The markets wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for Councillor Chuka and of course the town clerk, so thank you for all the effort that you put in on those. So as I say, this is attachment number 9, and hopefully you've read the proposal in front of you, and this is on a temporary This is a temporary period, so the recommendations are members are asked to approve the reintroduction of a Saturday market, as we had before, on the Guildhall forecourt from the 8th of June, starting on the 8th of June 24 and finishing on the 28th of September 2024. And this is to accept the key elements of this proposal outlined in Councillor Chuka's report. And item number 2 is members are asked to approve the purchase of 6 additional gazebos to meet the increased demand for market stalls at an indicative cost of £2,619.66. That's overall costs, not individually. And funding of the items can be provisioned from the miscellaneous expenditure budget, which would be ample to cover this for the financial year. I just wanted to add one other thing, was it was only through the ingenuity and intelligence of the town clerk that we got the other gazebos from as a gift from Dover District Council. So if you look at it in with a different set of glasses on, we've had all the other gazebos for free, so we're literally buying just a small set of gazebos. So actually the town council's actually on a what is termed a win-win situation. So Councillor Wiles, you have a question?
Yes, I fully support this. I think it's a fantastic proposal, and it will bring the forecourt to life on a Saturday when it's often dead. I think my only query is whether this market really is attracting a different clientele. It's about tourism and visitors to the town. It's not like the Thursday market, which kicks off very early. So I wonder if the hours should be better being, say, from 10 till 4, when visitors are, that's the core time when tourists are in the town, rather than 9 till 2, I think it is.
Indeed. I believe Councillor Chuka can answer your question. So.
Yes, so just direct response to that, but also a request. I have consulted with the stall holder who's going to be helping us deliver this. Those hours were reflected because we discussed it at finance during purposes, and it was modified, Councillor Wiles. So 9 till 2 has been, from their experience, the early hours that they would suggest we should focus on is 5-hour duration rather than 6 hours. So that's why it's arrived at 9 till 2. So that was the first thing. But secondly, the request or a plea is we've got 5 weeks, if it gets agreed tonight, to get this show up and running. I'd like at least one councillor or one councillor to work with me on this, because I want it to be a success. Yeah. There are things that need to be done, and I just want somebody with enthusiasm and energy to work alongside me to make this work. Because, as you say, it's getting the right stalls. It's also taking account of the shops around the town. So there's a few things to work through alongside advertising and some other options we've come up as ideas. And the delivery of a Thursday market is very much down to the town clerk. It's very much down to the caretaker, Simon. It's very much down to the stall holders themselves. It's been a collective effort. Some of the new stall holders have come from the stall holders themselves. So let's celebrate the round whole rather than an individual.
Indeed, sure, indeed. And of course the thing we must not be missing, of course, is that having an additional secondary market brings more income into the council and makes more use of the Guildhall forecourt. So that's why I used the term win-win. Councillor Black, would you like to?
Yeah, the first one is a pedantic question. The second one is not. Are you sure you want to use BACS? Because BACS is an extremely expensive method. Surely you mean online banking. There's a world of difference between BACS, which you do for big exchanges, and online banking.
I'll get an answer for you in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do mean payment online.
Thank you. I thought you did. Sorry, so that depends. Second bit is though, I see that the town clerk is going to decide what things will be sold. It does seem slightly unusual. I could have visions of you patrolling the market. Can I understand what the reason is for that? I appreciate it's a delicate balance, but I was a little bit surprised at that. It'd be useful to understand that. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm obviously approached by stallholders and I deal with the inquiries, I field the inquiries that come through. So I'm always mindful of is if we've got an existing stallholder, we don't really want someone else to come along and sell exactly the same. So there is scope for people doing similar, but what we don't want is a repetition because it is a small market and obviously we want everyone to thrive and make sure that they make a living.
Yeah, thank you. And there's a second point to add to that is taking account of the shops around us. So, for example, the meat stall on the Thursday is really successful.
Very successful.
Very successful. But I personally, hopefully the town clerk's agreement, wouldn't be arguing for another meat stall on the Saturday because we've got the butchers and we do not want to lose the butchers. Are brilliant for the town to have one. So there's that. And I just need to put my hands up. The actual first week it would start, whilst the period is set, I can defend that, it wouldn't start till the 15th of June because it is the weekend on the...
That's right, it is, yeah, thank you for that.
So it would start the 15th, and that it does in the details say the 15th.
Thank you very much. So the proposal, Councillor Anderson.
One more comment just in support of this proposal, and that is that I think these gazebos, if we can't use them for the market, do have alternative uses.
Indeed, they do.
One of them might be a pop-up tourist information.
Indeed, that's correct.
Sort of kiosk or whatever on the quay, on the forecourt, or whatever. And
that's correct.
And I think they are a flexible item.
Thank you. So the proposal is to go forward with recommendations 1 and 2. So that's reintroduction of the Saturday market for a limited period throughout the summer, and the second one is to the purchase of 6 additional gazebos. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Morehouse. And all those in favour, please show. And that's unanimous. Thank you. So that's passed. Thank you. And item number 17. This is tables and chairs licence request. And the council has received a request for tables and chairs licence from Shepherd Neame the Brewers on behalf of the Market Inn Public House. Members are to consider the request and terms of the proposed licence. This is attachments 10A and 10B. A decision is required and the recommendations are members are asked to consider whether to support the application from Shepherd Neame to place tables and chairs on the Guildhall forecourt as detailed in the submitted layout plan provided. If this approval is given, then members are asked to consider each of the points 1 to 7 raised in the report to determine whether to accept them or reject them as individual items. I'll lead off on this in that myself and my poor memory can't remember who, but a number of councillors, including the town clerk, met with a representative from Shepherd Neame and we discussed this application, this licence application for tables and chairs, and obviously Shepherd Neame had preferences as to what they wanted, but Councillor Tuker, myself and Councillor Wiles explained about that there would not be any ability to have it whilst there was any events on the forecourt, and also not whilst there was any markets being on the forecourt as well. So as I say, we negotiated with Shepherd Neame and there was an understanding of the fees that this council have already set. I believe that's £100 per cover. And I think this could be very beneficial because Shepherd Neame are a reputable organisation, so we'll be dealing with somebody. The first question I asked about was their public liability insurance, and the gentleman produced it at the meeting, so it shows you the type of people that we're dealing with very efficiently. Councillor Anderson first.
Yes, in fact it's something about public liability about which I know nothing but worry about, because when I looked at this risk assessment I thought, my goodness, I really don't want to be a member of staff employed by the marketing, because it does look extremely risky. Crossing it, it's not even clear if they will be expected to got it as zebra crossing, or whether they expect just to cross the road. I think it's
No,
just
no,
across the
only
road.
the zebra crossing, yeah.
At the zebra crossing,
Yeah,
they
they
will be
have to.
expected to cross.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, well, I just wonder if we're the landlords, as it were, letting this space to, I'm not quite clear, Shepherd Neame or the tenants of the Market Inn. Where does that place us, the town council, as far as public liability is concerned, if there's an accident and somebody working the tables and serving food and so on is run over?
Yeah, that's actually employers' liability there.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
did you want to answer that?
Right.
Sure. So yeah, so the serving stuff. So the people would order and then sit at the tables, and then the staff would come out of the Market Inn, go up to the zebra crossing, come across the zebra crossing, and then issue the drinks to whoever had ordered them at the table. I also insisted very strongly that only plastics can be used, so there's no risk of any damage or anything like that. In particular, I was thinking of councillors that perhaps own dogs here, where the dogs may walk on broken glass afterwards. So I wanted to make sure that any councillors with dogs, their dogs were safe from any broken glass, so plastics would be used. But any of the employees that go up and down, if they were to be involved in an RTA with a vehicle, that would be solely down to Shepherd Neame, and that would come under their employees' licensing, and that would be up to the employer to actually redraft the job description to say that that's what they would be undertaking, but there would be no comeback on Sandwich Town Council at all. We are just the landlords, so we are renting the space, and we are renting the space for the tables to go there and the usual services from the public house to be served there. So you couldn't suddenly have, say, like a children's birthday party or something else like that there, something else obscure. So I think we had Councillor Wiles, Councillor Pennington, and then Councillor Mallet there.
Clearly Shepherd Neame are a professional organisation. We've had experience of this elsewhere in the country. I think this proposal, it has benefits and it has costs. We have to be able to balance those two things. We get £1,000 a year, and to some extent it brings the forecourt to life, cafe culture, etc. But then against that there are the risks that are set out in the report. There's the risks of noise and rowdyism and all the kind of issues that we're familiar with, but as a council we have to balance those pros and cons.
Indeed, we had, and then we have Councillor Pennington, Councillor Mallet, and then Councillor Chuka finally.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not aware of this proposal, having been to Planning Committee. I looked at the Chair to see. I'm a bit concerned, well, very concerned actually. We have had applications submitted to Planning Committee where outside tables were requested, including from the Sandwich Cafe, and we took a much stricter line. And I do think there should be a level playing field, and if you take one line with one of the outlets surrounding the square, then we should apply similar considerations to this proposal. This proposal is much bigger than what Sandwich Cafe was asking for, and which we reduced. We allowed them to increase the number of tables, but not by the number they requested. But I'm just concerned that we might be seen to be unfair between the different outlets. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you for that. Thank you for that observation. Councillor Mallet?
Yes, I would echo Councillor Pennington's comments. Also, you mentioned plastic, disposable plastic or reusable plastic?
Reusable plastics. Reusable plastics, not disposable. We had Councillor Chuka and then Councillor Franklin.
Yes, so a couple of comments raised are actually answered within the report itself. But I was going to point out that the RSA one that was undertaken by KCC and DDC did actually stipulate to say this place at crossing is a zebra crossing. So whilst their risk assessment suggests find a space that you're happy with. I think we should be giving them advice that RSA does exist, and that would be our preference. Reusable plastics are definitely stated within this. Stepanine already had a licence approved, so based on these numbers of tables and chairs by DDC.
Oh.
No, we've got the previous plan here as well of theirs for 10. But what they have done is, because of the rejuggling of the layout, they've now come back with this revised request. Whether it's acceptable, the number of tables and chairs, we can discuss that. But they've set a precedent with DDC already. But to be fair to them, they came to the town council first this time, rather than go straight to DDC. The only other thing I was going to say is just a couple of observations. I think we should add in either to not permit A boards or to only give approval to A boards.
Indeed.
They've got to seek our approval. What we don't want is a bundle of A boards turning up on the forecourt.
No.
And the second, prior approval, coverings, canopies, etc. At the moment, there's none of that.
No.
But what we wouldn't want, I think, as a council, is suddenly one day to turn up and there's all sorts of paraphernalia, for whatever reason, erected by them.
And just to answer a couple of those queries that Councillor Tuke brought up, I know I went in there on 2 occasions. I believe Councillor Morehouse came in with me as well, for work purposes, of course, and to the marketing, and we notified them after the decision was made that charges would be made on the forecourt. Councillor Morehouse and I went over and saw the landlord and introduced ourselves, and we explained the situation that had been decided by Sandwich Town Council to charge for covers on the Guildhall forecourt. They came back to us quite readily saying, oh, we've already got, which Councillor Tuker has quite rightly said, a licence from Dover District Council. And I said, you may have a licence, but you haven't got any land to put it on, and nor has Dover District Council, because it's our land. So then they got in touch with their representative at Shepherd Neame to change that. So, but yeah, there will not be, the only items that are there is there will be like a roping, a thing to rope off the area to keep it so it doesn't expand, or people can't just come sit there whilst they're waiting for their bus at all. I did say to the Shepherd Neame representative that that the items that are there, so going on about Councillor Tuker's concerns, the items that are there have to be readily packed up, taken from the site and put away at their convenience somewhere for the market or an event. So say it's Wednesday at sort of 9 o'clock at night, Wednesday 9 o'clock, their employees have got to pack all of that paraphernalia up, tables, chairs. If they did have umbrellas, whatever it is they've got there, they have to pack it up and put it somewhere safe where vandals or other people may misuse them. So it has to be safely stored away so that it can't cause any damage to anywhere else. So anyway, so big pardon, sorry,
I'm not quite sure what the finishing time is. Is it 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I believe it was.
I think it should be 9 o'clock if they're going to, and I'd like to see all the tables and chairs cleared away every night.
Yes,
A bit like the cafe does.
That
and I'm a
is,
bit worried about the 10 tables. With the space kit, just say it might damage a tree with a tree.
Oh no.
So could we make it 10 tables or 8? Try it for size, and if or 9. But you know what I mean. We spend less money with trees, and I am worried that we don't want damage now, do we?
I agree.
And I think 9 o'clock, time they clear away, it's going to be 10 o'clock, isn't it? And especially as it's going to start getting dark earlier, I am worried about the safety, clearing it all away. Okay.
Councillor Tuker can answer those
so
points.
So to say, Councillor Franklin, when the Shepherd Neame representative came, we had the measuring tapes out. One of the things about the trees, they had not factored it into their design, so it was agreed there and then that they will include the barriers to go around the trees, so the trees will be protected, because we were just as concerned about that. So as the layout stands, the barriers go across in front of the trees, so there are no tables or chairs nearby to the trees. And the layout that they've measured is all can be all accommodated from the start down to just in front of H concern, but on our land.
What about finishing time?
So the finishing time, the time in here reflects the fact of the other hostelries around here when they close. The waiting room closes at 10:30 typically. The New Inn closes at 10. So 10 was put in here on the basis that they then would take away the tables and chairs by 11, but it's up for grabs to suggest an earlier time.
Well, can we just say, because the actual, that would come under licensing, so that's not for us to decide what time. That would be the licence that the Market Inn would get from Dover District Council.
So we have the licence at 9 o'clock then?
That's, yeah. So, Councillor Penton, last question now, please.
Thank you. I just wonder if we get applications from the waiting room, from the New Inn, also to introduce tables on the forecourt, what would be our policy? I think this needs further reflection, frankly.
We would consider those applications the same as we've considered this one, on an equal footing, and take that forward. So there's a £350,000 loan that either us or our children have got to pay off for that forecourt. So it's dependent on this council to help future generations.
Mr Mayor, is this for 1 year, or is it, are we just in it for 1 year, or is it indefinite that we can allow them to come there? Is there a time period?
It would be reviewed annually. Annually, yeah, that's it. Very quickly, very last question. Thank you.
Well, perhaps we should ask the waiting room and the New Inn if they would be interested in having tables on the forecourt.
It's up to them to approach us.
Yes, that's a commercial entity. We shouldn't really be seen to be going around the town, because if we go to those other ones, why don't we go to the Bell Hotel or the Admiral Owen or anybody else? Or you have to be very careful with commercial options. It's a bit like recommending organisations. So, obviously, if you want that built in, you can have that built in, but you have to be careful.
My concern is the concern that Councillor Pennington raised, that people might think we're favouring one commercial enterprise to the detriment of other commercial enterprises.
You could make that aware, but it's like with the supermarkets, isn't it? I mean, you choose where to shop. You can have 2 supermarkets in a town, but you choose where to shop, and that would be the same. So they can approach us the same. I mean, the sandwich shop has for a large number of years had the monopoly on the forecourt all the time. And then from my knowledge and Councillor Franklin's, Costa Coffee got a licence and then got their one done. And then Shepherd and Eam have approached us and then they've got their one done. But how would you draw up who you would go to approach? So, because do you just do the ones that are in the vicinity of the forecourt, or do you make it an option for no name shop or the ones in King Street? That's a very difficult one to decide, isn't it?
Principle is first come, first served.
It's a commercial option, isn't it? So, I mean, if you want that built in, you can ask to have that built in. At all, so. Councillor Chuka, could I ask you, did you want to propose this forward as it's?
Yes.
Would that be?
So the first vote is that we that we agree to the proposal, that we support their application. And then if we do, then we have to go through each of the questions that are then asked, whether we support them or not.
Okay. So, and do we have a seconder for that at all? Yes, anybody want to second that? I'll second that to go forward. So, and then all those in favour of taking that forward? 8. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
and those abstaining.
1, 2.
And is there anybody against this proposal? That's just one. And that proposal has actually been successful, so we will go ahead. And then
Mr. Mayor, just to be clear, this is us supporting it, doesn't mean it will get a licence.
no, no. Yeah.
Number 2.
Thank you, councillors.
And it's number 2, isn't it?
Yeah. And then item number 2, members are asked to consider each of the points 1 to 7 raised in the report and to determine whether to accept them or reject them as individual items. Are you proposing that?
I propose, unless somebody's dissenting on any of the items, that we can vote for them on block.
So I propose, I would second if they're voted on block, please. And all those in favour, please show. 10.
10.
And that item has been passed as well. Thank you.
Is there any abstentions?
Any abstentions? 1.
2.
2.
Thank you.
So that's been passed. Item there. Item number 18. Fees for the forecourt and square. Following the Financial and General Purposes Committee meeting on the 22nd of April, the committee would like to recommend a letter is sent to the event organisers for the long established events to propose consultation for fees charged for using the Guildhall forecourt square from 2025. A decision is required on this matter. This is attachment number 11. If you remember, if you cast your minds back, we did say that the proposals we've put in place now were sort of quite rapidly squeezed in and put into place, and quite possibly there wasn't as much consultation as we should have done, or as much time consultation was undertaken. So this actual item is a proposal to look ahead to the year 2025 and propose consultation well in advance with the events organisations so that we are all happy and we're all on the same page when it comes to events taking place in 2025. So Councillor Anderson's hand went up first.
This is an example of exactly what I was referring to just now, and I talked about how committees discuss items and issues, and then they come to the town council, and I don't think we need to debate them again.
No.
I think fellow councillors who are not on finance and general purposes should simply accept that this discussion had a very good airing at the committee and of finance and general purposes, and it's now been brought to the town council to ratify, and that's as far as I think this discussion should go.
Councillor Mannick.
It's just to clarify that this will also, this is a letter going to the various event organisers. It will include discussion over CIC, CIO, charity status, the whole lot.
Yes.
Start again, get it right.
Exactly, that's correct. That's correct. Briefly, Councillor Wise.
Yeah, so it's trying to keep things as simple as possible, recognising that we've got these existing events that are long-standing that we should support unless their status changes. The only query I've got within this, and I'm not sure I've looked at the agreements in detail, is about electricity and staffing costs, because clearly there are going to be electrical charges on those events, and also we have staff employed on the day, so perhaps the town clerk should clarify whether we also should be charging those and making clear in this letter that we will be charging event organisers for our costs, which we can't subsidise.
No, indeed. Okay then. And briefly, Councillor Tudor.
So I'd argue against that for this year. I think let's keep it very simple. We went through a lot of difficult conversations. We've now come up with a defined list of events that already exist that will be protected for now and the future, as long as their status doesn't change. I think other applicants in the future, if they're a CIC or CIO, need to prove that they are. So we ring fence those events that exist that use a forecourt now, and in terms of electricity, etc., we do. That's what we deal with between now and next year, and then that's what we consult on, rather than the actual principle. Because I really wouldn't want us to go back to zero to have another debate about what's in and what's not in scope, because it doesn't help anybody.
No, indeed. Thank you very much. So we must move on now. So members are asked to approve the letter for event organisers. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you very much, Councillor Anderson. And all those in favour? Thank you very much, unanimous there. Thank you very much for that. That has been passed. And item number 19 is public conveniences update. And this is numbered attachment 12. Town Clerk to share a proposal to increase the opening hours of the public conveniences for the summer period only until the 30th of September 2024, and a decision is required on this. I'll try and find this one. Oh, that's okay. Oh, you've got it there, have you? It's just all right, so, leave that in here. Oh, super, thank you for that. So, and the recommendations are to agree the later opening of the public conveniences for both sites for the summer period until the 30th of September 2024, to note the update on the recent vandalism suffered at both sites, and to thank the public convenience attendant for her hard work and dedication despite the challenges. So, Councillor Anderson?
Yes, I just have one question because I'm not clear. As I understand it, that the shower is not operational, is that right? Is that what the engineer has...
So we've had the 40 pence for the toilet disabled, that's not a problem, but with the shower, it wouldn't accept the payment of £4. So there's been lots of issues with it, and the door was locking, and so the public conveniences attendant has been phoning every other day to get this engineer, and it should be happening this week, is what I've been told. So I'm hopeful. But I think they came once or twice, and then a fuse blew, and so there's been all sorts of problems with it. But it needs to be done because it needs to be ready for the event, and we're all aware of that, Councillor Mallet. So yeah, we'll make it happen.
I was going to say something else.
So I just want to be clear. So the shower itself is working. It's the entry mechanism.
It's the entry mechanism and the payment. So without making the payment, the water doesn't come on. It's a bit complicated, but yeah, I'm not an engineer, so I don't fully understand. But but the public conveniences attendant has been literally, and she has to be on hold for 30-40 minutes to get through to the person she needs to speak to. So it has proved to be a bit of a challenge, but we're hopeful we're getting there this week.
And briefly, Councillor.
Very briefly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can just echo what you've already said, I contact Tony on a regular basis. I find her incredibly responsive, and she's a lovely lady, and I really support her.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that support there. So this is to agree the later opening hours, and note the update on the vandalism, and also thank the conveniences attendant. So could I have a seconder for this report, Councillor Wiles? And all those in favour, please show. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. That report is passed.
Would you require your lights on? Would you require your lights on?
Oh, I'm not sure. We've got some sort of...
over there by the door.
Oh, right, we've got some sort of strip lighting.
You're all right.
All right. Oh, thank you. That's perhaps useful. Thank you, Councillor Franklin. Item number 20. Item number 20 is Cowley's Meadow carry forward request, and this is attachment 13. And basically, this is to carry forward the budget into the forthcoming year for expenditure, and do the council approve of alignment from the general balance brought forward of £112 for the continuation of the planting scheme at Cowley's Meadow. Councillor Anderson.
I propose
Oh, super, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody's willing to second?
Sorry, Mr Mayor, before
Oh, sorry,
we progress,
indeed,
I just wanted
Councillor.
to share with everybody. So the RFO had clarified the position, which I had put on your tables for you before the meeting started. So it does give you a breakdown of the Cowley's spend, the original budget and the project budget. So it's all broken down there, but what you can see is the original Cowley's budget of £350 and the project budget of £1,000. There is an underspend of £111.84, and the overspend on the original budget was £464.47, and the underspend on the project budget was £576.31, giving a balance of £111.84. So so the RFO has said the underspend requested from the Cowley's budget heading is £111.84, and the underspend requested from the general brought forward budget is £464.47. And then she's rounded those figures for you underneath, so it's £576. So the approval is, please can council approve a carry forward of £576 from the 23-24 to be put into the 24-25 Cowley's budget.
Councillor Wiles?
Could I just say that this is a classic item that should be within the delegated authority? We shouldn't be wasting time on this.
No, I agree.
100 or 500
Agree.
pounds.
I agree.
You know, it's crazy.
Indeed. As it's brought to council, I'd like to propose approval of this. Would anybody second that, Councillor Tuker? All those in favour, please show. And that's passed. Thank you very much. Good point, Councillor Wiles. Noted. Thank you. Maddox Working Group, item number 21. Members to consider a report from the Maddox Working Group with a proposal to close the working group. The report confirms the status of each work stream and records ongoing actions for officers of STC. This is attachment number 14 and a decision is required on this. Council is asked to approve this report and provide any directions considered as necessary, and a decision is required on this. Does anybody have any proposals? Councillor Moores, thank you very much. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Wiles, are you seconding it?
I was going to ask a question.
Oh, indeed. Okay.
Do we know what level of fees have been charged to date for the administration of the estate?
No, we're awaiting the breakdown. So the solicitors have said that, the executives have said that there will be a breakdown being circulated to us, or all the beneficiaries. So as soon as that is received, we obviously will be sharing that with members.
Okay. So that's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please show. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. That has been passed there. And item number 22 is Tourist Information Centre proposal. Members to consider a report from the Town Clerk with a recommendation for the Visitor Information Centre to remain inside the Guildhall, the Hive to be utilised as a temporary exhibition space for the museum. This is attachment number 15 and a decision is required on this. The Council is asked to consider the recommendation of supporting the proposed use of both spaces with any comments or feedback welcome from members. I have myself and other members at the Museum and Archives meeting spoken with the museum coordinator, and the museum coordinator is really pushing forward on temporary exhibitions. Temporary exhibitions have been shown to bring in a vast number of visitors to the museum and to the town, so it is a great benefit to the town. And the temporary exhibitions support the work of the council because such as the Kitchener Camp one, and there's one coming up very shortly for D-Day, and the one after D-Day is going to be on the history and tradition of Speakers' Day as well. And these all support what the council's pushing forward, and they're all supporting tourism. Councillor Wiles first.
Yeah, I think this is premature, and I'll tell you why. Because in March last year there was a report that went to Heritage and Townscape, which I wrote about the tourism working group, and it included surveys and lots of information, and I circulated that to councillors. And that report set out a number of options for the Visitor Information Centre. including keeping it where it is, moving it to the Hive, moving it somewhere else to a retail unit, or moving it to the museum.
Indeed.
There was some opposition to that, but I think the museum issue is worth considering because it would be at the moment we're doubling up on reception staff. It would allow the museum to have the Hive, and obviously with volunteers coming into that as well, it would help to run that service, and it would possibly allow the museum then to be open 7 days a week. So, but the point I want to make is that we've set up a tourism forum, and this decision would preempt the work of that forum. So we need to allow them time to look at the report that was done last year and all the other factors involved in this, and we can't preempt that. We can't make this decision tonight. That's my view.
I believe, just to answer your question, Councillor, I believe this one is actually asking if the Hive can be used as a temporary exhibition space. So it's not actually. I believe you were saying that you were going to move the VIC into the museum. Did you? Were you?
It was an option.
As an option, yeah. But that's not up for discussion here. So you would still be able to bring that as a proposal on a future agenda. So, Councillor Ungerson.
Yes. I actually think that the tourism information is located in the right space at the moment. So I don't necessarily support moving tourism information into the Hive. However, what is being proposed here is a permanent temporary exhibition space. And that's a large chunk of Guildhall space. It could be used for other purposes. It could be used, if we agree to it, to be a tourism information space.
That's correct.
I wouldn't support, but it could be used for other purposes as well. I mean, we talked at finance and general purposes of possibly using the hub as a hot desk place for people working from home, and an objection was made that it was really too large. And the Hive might be a very suitable space for that kind of activity. What I'm disappointed by, and I don't think it's nitpicking, is that there is no plan attached for the temporary exhibitions which would fill this space, and I would expect us to have a plan for the next 2 years. And I'm not aware of such a plan having been brought to the Museum and Archives Committee, and I would be very keen to see one, because it seems to me to put aside a permanent temporary exhibition space without being informed as to what temporary exhibitions might fill it over the next 2 years is not appropriate, and
Thank you for that.
we're not properly informed.
No, thank you for that point. Councillor Morehouse, Pennington and Chuka. Oh, and then Frampton.
I believe that the Hive is now out of the equation because of the bus stand renders it unusable, and it could be used as a temporary exhibition centre only if it's used via access via the museum and not through the double doorstep, because I think that'd be impractical with that bus stand sitting there.
Thank you very much for that point. Councillor Pennington.
Thank you. I have the strong impression that the resources that we have in the museum and archives are grossly underused. We don't get enough out of them. If this will help in some way to take things forward, I would support it. I fully sympathise with Councillor Ungerson's concern that there should be a programme, but it's a bit of a chicken and egg argument. You can't plan temporary exhibitions until you know you've got somewhere to put them. So I would suggest that we do this as a limited agreement for a year or two and see how it works, and then we have time to think in longer term about how we use the Guildhall.
Thank you very much. Councillor Chuka.
So I'll pick up a bit on Councillor Pennington's points, because I think we're starting from the wrong place here.
Yeah.
If we turn back the clock, a very detailed report was compiled. It was taken to Heritage and Townscape and delegated to the Tourism Forum when it was set up. I'm not sure that that link was made or has been made or still needs to be made. It would be unwise to make a decision in this meeting, and I'm already hearing suggestions of the decision in the absence of the analysis that was undertaken. But I think we need to expedite something to support the museum. And I like the idea of something temporary, because what I'm worried about is what's suggested in the paper is an amount of money that can be spent on the space. That suggests to me length of time as opposed to a temporary nature. My personal view is temporary nature because the resolution and already the debates have started again about where the tourism information centre should be, and I wasn't part of that battle because it was a battle. It was never resolved, and maybe that's why it sort of sat on the sidelines. But I think as a council we need to be brave enough to make the right decision that is sustainable. The information centre at the moment is not attractive enough to tourists, so we need to do something there if that's the right space. So there's a number of issues that still need to be worked through. I'm making personally no decision on where it should be, but what I'm saying is we're probably starting from the wrong place today. So if there is a temporary solution that we can apply to the Hive that supports the museum, I'd be all for that, and then gives us time to look at the longer term solution.
Thank you for that observation. Councillor Franklin and Councillor Black, and that's the last question.
Perhaps a lot of the new councillors don't realise that the former Tourist Information Office got stripped out, and then it became to the wardens, didn't it, the PC's head, so...
Yes.
And then it was decided to turn into a temporary exhibition, and we had a grant to turn it into temporary, so we've received a grant to use that as a temporary exhibition space, because we know they're trying to get items from the Bodleian and also Oxford and also Manchester to go to here. They won't be going into the main museum. We can't really use the courtroom because we use that for weddings. The only place you can really use it for exhibitions is the little office, the Hive. The hub's really out of it because some of these exhibitions won't be very large exhibitions. So we've already agreed, we've already took money to turn that room, the Hive, into a permanent temporary exhibition space. So you'll either have to give that grant money back somehow, because that decision was made, and it was only made a little while ago. The museum, we had this last year, they talked about the museum, and all the museum staff, they all said they'd resign if they were going to try and shove tourist information in there. So we've got a real problem with that, because they said, we are the museum, we do get people coming in at the weekends. I mean, I've been in there at weekend, people do coming up. But if you make it a permanent thing, I think we'll have a lot of trouble with the volunteers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And the very last question will have to be Councillor Black, so that we can take a recess.
I'm doing my best to make sure we have a tourism forum a week on Wednesday, and we've now got the hub book for that. I'm liaising with the chair to see if we can get this all. It's going to be a bit of a rush to get all the bits and pieces of paper sorted out, but we'll do that. Question: do I include your original report in that? I think it was a comprehensive report, and it should. I personally think it should be included, but I haven't spoken to Richard Roth about that. Did he ever get a copy?
Yeah, he did.
He did. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just...
Oh, yeah. Very, very briefly.
Can I just come back on that, because some of the volunteers expressed opposition, not all by any means, and there was a bit of a coordinated campaign at that time. My view is this council is living beyond its means. You know, we can't carry on like this. We've got a visitor information centre here and a museum here doing similar business. Visitor information and the museum are two sides of the same coin. That's my view. And we have to think seriously about whether that's a viable option. And it would then give the Hive to the museum on a permanent basis.
Could you bring that perhaps as a proposal on a new agenda, possibly then? So it's a good idea, but it's not to be discussed tonight. So I'm proposing from the chair that we go forward with this option, but on a time limited period of say 6 months to try it out, and then we can see what happens, and on the understanding that the museum coordinator can draft a future plan of exhibitions that can go in there, based on the information that Councillor Franklin has given us of working with people like the Bodleian and all the others. So that's my proposal. You're seconding it, are you?
No, I'm not.
I can't take any more questions
Well, I'm
because we've
suggesting an amendment. That there should be an evaluation of how many visitors the museum gets
Sure.
as a consequence of putting on a temporary exhibition.
Indeed.
Because we need that data to demonstrate that temporary exhibitions
Yeah.
bring the punters in. And that has to be done by the museum volunteers, and a system has to be put in place whereby they can ask people why they've come.
And you've just shot yourself down in flames because we actually discussed that at the Museum and Archive Committee.
No,
So
we didn't actually.
we said that Millie had to prove data
Yes.
that's
a question
for the temporary exhibitions. So that's already been discussed.
But not a question of interviewing people.
Yeah. Okay, well, the fine details on that. So all those in favour of that option, please. Thank you.
Am I allowed to vote as a museum volunteer?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What's the option?
So the option is to go ahead with the proposal as seen in the report, but for a 6-month period, and for us to collect data. 2 things. One is to collect data on how many people attend the temporary exhibitions, and the second one is to ask for a draft of temporary exhibitions going beyond that 6 months, so that when it is reconsidered in 6 months, we can then decide whether to continue with another 6 months or make it permanent. So, and are you seconding that? Thank you very much, Councillor Pennington. All those in favour of that, please show. And we've got 2 abstaining. Is anybody against, please? Thank you. Councillor Wiles was against. So, did you vote, Councillor Fortescue?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So, just checking. Just checking. Yeah, you're very quick there. So we'll take a 5-minute recess. Could you all be back in the chamber by 15:15, please? Thank you. If you could resume your seats, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, so we can continue. Got quite a bit more to get through. Thank you very much. So, resuming the Sandwich Town Council meeting, item number 23 is the Assets Officer role. Following the F&GP committee meeting held on the 22nd of April, it was proposed that the Council approve delegated authority to the Human Resources Committee to agree the job description and person specification for the role of the Assets Officer for STC. And this is attachment 16. A decision is required, and basically we just need to know whether we will allow delegated authority to the HR committee to undertake this, who are, I guess, the best qualified people to do it. Any questions or proposals? Councillor Moore. Thank you very much.
I've got a question first. So I think the delegation is right, but I've looked at the HR committee papers. I'm glad to see that the 30% has been taken out of the actual job description in terms of earnings, savings to substantiate the role. So that's great. However, I've still personally got a few comments on it, so I don't want to lose the opportunity to contribute to the final version. So I just want to make sure that that's recognised as anybody in this room is able to comment on the actual description. So all we're doing here is moving the decision of it, but the content still needs to be right.
Indeed, so so we'll be engaged that.
So I'm happy to send in comments to the chair if that's the best way to do it.
That's brilliant. That's I was just looking for the process to do that. So that's what we'd do. So.
I'm not seconding, I'm asking a question. When is the next HR committee meeting?
It's in a week's time.
Wednesday the 1st of May. Is this
Sorry?
week?
Oh, sorry, Wednesday the 1st of May.
Is this week?
Yes,
oh, right, okay.
So thank you very much. So, are you seconding that proposal? Thank you very much. All those in favour, please show. Thank you, and that's unanimous. Thank you very much. That item has been passed. Item number 24 and 25 we're going to take to the end of the Toll Bridge Fund. So could I have somebody to propose and second taking the confidential. Thank you. That Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Tuker. Thank you, Councillor Miles. And then what we will do is we will open up. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, sorry. Beg your pardon. Sorry. All those in favour of moving confidential to the end of the... Thank you very much. That's passed as well. So, abstention there. So, thank you, Councillor.